Of you should each have the information packet, which starts with when and how to wash your hands, and then there is the test packet, which says hand washing post-test. They go side by side, so literally if you put the information to your left and the quizzes to your right, we'll go over them together. When and how to wash your hands, all the time and well. If you don't wash them well, it's as good as not doing it at all. If you do the Walmart wash, don't bother. Okay, you want to make sure you're washing before and after resident care, before you bring a tray into a room. When you come out between trays, you can use hand sanitizer, that's okay. But the rule of thumb is you use hand sanitizer 3 times and then you have to wash. Does anybody count? Nobody counts. You know nobody counts. I don't count. I know you. If you say you count, I call you out on it.
I count
Yeah, I call you out on that one.
sheep when I sleep.
Most of us, when our hands start feeling grubby, we say we better wash. You know what? So my general rule is if you see a sink, wash. Take the minute and wash. Any way you slice it, it is still the more effective overall method of hand hygiene, although it does pose some increased risks as far as drying your hands out and that sort of thing. How do you wash? You want to wet your hands, of course. You want to take your soap and you want to scrub for a minimum of 20 seconds. Sing happy birthday twice, and not like you're running a race. Sing it like you've got a cake on the table and you actually like the person that you're singing it to, okay? Because if you sing it too fast, you won't hit your 20-second mark. The glow germ, you know, have you ever used the stuff you put on your hands and then you do a black light and it shows where you missed? Have you ever used that? There's this stuff called glow germ and you wash your hands with it and then use a black light and it shows where you miss. The places I consistently see people miss, right here in the webbing of your fingers, not on the palm side, on the back of your hand side, under your jewelry and around your jewelry, and at the very base of your nails. I think the base of your nails is because people do this, and you can see I miss the bottom of the nail when I do that because I'm so worried about getting the sides. Take your jewelry and slide it up a little bit. Make sure you're scrubbing where that jewelry was, and then slide it back down and you're scrubbing the jewelry. When you get home at night, take your jewelry off, because no amount of scrubbing is going to get that spot right there. The inside of your jewelry is the harbinger of all sorts of microorganisms that you don't want to be carrying around with you. It is warm, it is dark, it is moist, it's the perfect breeding ground for bacteria and viruses. Take it off at night, scrub it, let it sit out and dry overnight, and then put it back on in the morning. You should wear minimal jewelry anyway from a safety perspective, but from an infection control perspective, the bigger the jewelry, the more nooks and crannies it has, the more likely you are to carry stuff around with you. So I've scrubbed my hands for my 20 seconds, I've done my thing. I'm gonna rinse, and I rinse with my fingertips pointing down towards the drain. If I bring my hands up, everything's gonna run this way and you've just contaminated your whole arm. So make sure you rinse well, get all that soap off. You're gonna take paper towels and you're gonna dry your hands and you're gonna throw them out. You're gonna get another paper towel to turn the faucet off. This is not in the policy, but I will add, throw that paper towel out and get yourself a clean paper towel and use it to open the door and to get out of the bathroom. Because you do not know, especially in a shared or public bathroom, what that person before you did. If they did the, Walmart wash, that's a problem. Hand sanitizer, put it on your hands. They say rub till it feels dry. Does it ever really feel dry? No, it doesn't. Most manufacturers' recommendations are 20 seconds. So again, happy birthday twice. People will say, oh, you don't use hand sanitizer or you don't hand wash because this kills more bacteria and that kills more bacteria. Really, as far as death to bacteria or viruses, they're actually about equal. But the issue is that if you have a microorganism on your hand and you use hand sanitizer and the hand sanitizer hasn't killed it, all you've done is relocate it to another area of your hand. Whereas when you physically scrub your hands and rinse, the actual act of rinsing your hands off removes those microorganisms and flushes them down the drain. Especially with spore-like things like C. diff, you never use hand sanitizer. You have to wash. Any questions on hand washing or hand hygiene? Okay, so there's a quiz. The first thing is the hand washing post-test. Number 1, wet your hands. We're gonna number them in order. Step 2 is wash your hands and wrists with soap and water for a minimum of 20 seconds. 3 is use friction by rubbing hands together briskly. 4 is keep hands and forearms lower than the elbows. 5 is use dry paper towels to dry hands. and 6 is use a dry paper towel to turn off the faucet. We are not physically going to go and do hand washing. You've both been in healthcare for a little while, so you understand the premise of hand washing. And in these times where the availability of supplies are uncertain, we really don't want to be running through 170 staff members of let's just play with personal protective equipment and soap and hand hygiene, and we want to make sure we're conserving our resources. If you are not comfortable with any part of the procedure, please come and see me and I will gladly go over it with you one-on-one separately. We're just trying to do our best to conserve, okay? The next page in your packet is the hand washing validation tool. You can just sign a date on the bottom and I will sign you off on that as long as you are comfortable with that procedure. Any questions on that? All right. The next item is respiratory hygiene and cough etiquette. We've all seen the posters with the little stick figure bald dude. He says, cover your cough. No more. They are not recommending coughing into your elbow as the first line of defense. You now want to cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you sneeze or cough. Then you discard the tissue and perform hand hygiene. The reason being, am I gonna wash my elbow?
No.
And then I'm gonna pick up my resident's lunch tray, and I'm gonna bring their towels in to do their shower, and I'm gonna spread that stuff everywhere. I will add to the procedure to put another tissue in your pocket after you've used one. If you forget, if you just happen to have a rash of sneezes or coughs in a row and you don't happen to have another one, go ahead and cough into your arm, but then make sure when you perform hand hygiene that you get where you coughed, because you're going to spread that. You're going to take it with you everywhere you go for the rest of the day.
Mostly smokers cough, mostly.
That's okay. So there's a post-test. In the first picture, what is that person doing wrong?
Not covering their mouth.
And nose. If you're going to cover one, you have to cover the other. No matter which one you cover, there still will be air flowing out from the other. And so doing a half the job is as good as not doing the job at all. You have to cover your mouth and your nose. If you want to see something really interestingly disgusting, you go on YouTube and look up slow motion sneezes.
Oh Lord.
The droplets spread up to 15 feet and they go at about 30 to 40 miles an hour.
Oh,
You want to make sure that you're covering your mouth and your nose.
Get down!
Yes. In the next picture, what is the woman doing right?
She is covering her nose and mouth.
You got it. She's covering her nose and her mouth. So after coughing or sneezing into a tissue, what are the next 2 steps? So I'm going to cough into my tissue,
Toss the
and then I'm
tissue.
going to throw it away
Wash your hands.
and wash my hands. Yeah. Remember, tissues are not waterproof, moisture-proof. If you coughed into it, chances are there are microorganisms that have transferred onto your hands. You've got to perform hand hygiene.